Wagner, and welcome back to the news of the day. I'm reaching for my phone. We are back this time for Daddy Trump is going to speak at the White House Correspondents' Dinner here in a minute. But first off, we got to get that poll of the day in here. Who will be president in 2028? 837 days until election. And we got Mr. J.D. Vance with 60 wins. Mr. Marco Rubio with 3 wins. Mr. Gavin Newsom with 19 wins. And John Ossoff. Welcome back, Michael. It's JD. It is going JD's way. 60 wins so far on this thing. All right, let's check in on the news real quick before Daddy Trump gets up on the stage. We will go into the White House Correspondents' Dinner in a second here. There's a live feed of that already going. But we got from the Washington Post. Oh, wait, let me pull up the chat, y'all. Let me pull up the chat. All right, and there we go. All right. The FDA panel gives a nod to 6 controversial peptides. The market for peptides, chemicals that have been increasingly promoted as new medical treatments and wellness products, got a big boost this week as a divided Food and Drug Administration panel voted on Thursday and Friday to recommend loosening regulations on 6 of the 7 peptide treatments it reviewed. The 6 were BPC 157, proposed to treat ulcerative colitis, epileptation, proposed to treat insomnia. KPV, proposed to help promote wound healing and treat inflammation. MOTSC, proposed to treat several conditions including insulin resistance, obesity, and osteoporosis. Sesming, proposed to treat migraines, cerebral palsy, and neurological other disorders, including chronic pain disorders, and TB 500 proposed to promote wound healing. The FDA will make a final decision after the committee's recommendations, which could take months. If the agency decides to allow certain pharmacies to produce the peptides, patients could obtain them with a prescription from their physicians instead of from unregulated vendors online. While the agency often follows its advisory panels, FDA scientists said before the meeting that they proposed broadening peptides access across the United States, saying the risk of the benefits remains unclear. The International Criminal Court voted Friday to oust Chief Prosecutor Karl over sexual misconduct allegations. Yeah, so I guess the International Court isn't, sounds like it's a bunch of abusers. Sounds like a bunch of abusers, doesn't it? Doesn't it sound like a bunch of abusers? Sounds like that to me, my guys. Oh my God, that's so crazy. I just realized I didn't set up our thing. So let me set this up really quick. No news is news. And we are in the playlist of No News is News, and we saved that. There we go. All right. The criminal misconduct allegations with 82 of the court's 125 members countries backing his dismissal. As the court's chief prosecutor since 2021, Khan oversaw investigations into alleged war crimes, including cases involving sexual violence. President Trump's rescheduled, much smaller 2026 White House Correspondents' Dinner is taking place at the Waldorf Astoria in Washington, D.C. The event is a do-over of the original April gala at the Washington Hilton that was disrupted by a shooter. And that's the news for the day, y'all. All right, let's get into it. We got the White House Correspondents' Dinner. We got Wolf Blitzer up there right now. We got Mr. Wolfie Blitzer. Let's do it. Let's get into it. I need my headphones though, guys. Where are my headphones? Oh no, where are my headphones? Oh, they're in my pocket. Okay, got it. 1 second. Hold up. Here we go. And we're off to the races.
After the first chorus, I did not go to the men's room.
Oh, that was a wild thing to jump in on. I'm going to eat my dinner like these people eat dinner.
Over these many years. I spent 7 years as a White House correspondent. And I just want to remember with real excitement and passion, who often came with me to these dinners over these many years. And that was the man who hired me at CNN, the man who created CNN, the late Ted Turner, who recently passed away. And he was not only a mentor and a good friend, but he loved journalism. When he hired me, he said, "Remember, Wolf, we're the cable news, capital N, capital E, capital W, capital S network. This is where the news comes first, and don't forget that. Forget about your own personal opinions. Just report the news fairly and accurately, and if you can, do it first." And that's what I've been trying to do over all of these
have you?
years.
Is that why you reported on January 6th?
Ted Turner,
I thought that was
what
fair.
he did for not just for CNN,
accurate,
but for CNN and all of the news organizations over these many, many years. The Aldo Beckman Award for Overall Excellence in White House Coverage, named for the late Chicago Tribune correspondent and former association president Aldo Beckman, goes to, and let's give him a big round of applause, Josh Dawsey of the Wall Street Journal.
Give him an award. Hurry.
The judges said Josh Dawsey shows us how power works inside the presidency. And over the past year, his reporting has revealed how decisions are made, who influences them, and how power is exercised at the highest levels. Josh Dawsey went far beyond the deluge of breaking news to offer invaluable insights that can only result from deeply sourced enterprise reporting. In the tradition of Aldo Beckman, he exemplifies integrity, persistence, and a steadfast commitment to holding power to account. Ladies and gentlemen, the WHCA is pleased to give the Aldo Beckman Award to Josh Dawsey. Let's continue with the awards. Thank you.
More awards. Winning journalists.
The WHCA
Award-winning journalists. They're
gives
winning
out
awards
2
today, guys.
awards for reporting under
Wolf
deadline
Blitzer handing
pressure.
out awards.
One for print and one for broadcast.
Hey-o.
This year's print winner is Amr Madhani and Zeke Miller of the Associated Press. When sources leaked that Trump administration officials were attempting to purge the National Security Council of staff deemed not sufficiently aligned with the president's agenda, Madhani and Miller quickly moved to verify the claim. They uncovered an unprecedented vetting process. NSC staffers were asked about their past political contributions, voting records, and social media posts as a gauge of loyalty to the president. Ultimately, more than 150 NSC aides were removed, resulting in the loss of considerable foreign policy expertise. The story that Madhani and Miller produced is as consequential as it is revelatory. Please welcome Zeke Miller accepting the award on behalf of the team. Now the Broadcast Award for Excellence Under Deadline Pressure.
It's crazy.
And
Trump was
this year's
scheduled to do a
winner
speech
is
5 minutes ago.
My colleague and very good
Get Wolf
friend,
Blitzer off the
Caitlin
stage.
Bowles
Let's go!
of CNN.
Fucking press. F these people. Exactly. They're making Trump's speech go late.
Reporting by CNN's Caitlin Collins on a
The
historic
CNN table.
showdown in the Oval Office
Wow.
between President Trump and Ukrainian President Zelensky launched a memorable day of nonstop insight and analysis, including her exclusive interview with the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio. Judges were awed by the depth of knowledge, access, and context that Caitlin brought to coverage of a meeting that unraveled before the world's eyes. The WHCA is pleased to honor the deadline reporting of CNN's Caitlin Collins.
They're literally giving each other awards, and then he's going to go up there and destroy him. Destroy him!
Let's give
Kyle's
Caitlin
trying to get the
round of applause.
Trump handshake. That was a big move by Caitlin. Throwing that hand in there.
And now the award for excellence in presidential news coverage by visual journalists. This award recognizes a video or photojournalist for covering the presidency at the White House or in the field. And this year's award goes to Andrew Callaghan of Getty Images.
What did he do? Tell me what he did. Did he take a fucking photo of the UFC White House?
He captured the moment an Oval Office visitor collapsed during an event. Okay. And from the judges, they say this: through sharp timing, layered composition, and visual irony, this photograph expertly documents a true split-screen moment in real time. The president's orientation and posture inadvertently echo the statue to his right, while the upper half of the frame is defined by movement.
That's
a truly
solid.
Striking image of contrast, skillfully captured in a chaotic moment. Please join me in congratulating Getty Images photographer Andrew Callaghan,
deserved it.
who also represents still photographers
Bro deserved that.
on the WHCA
deserved that.
board.
That was a funny one. That's a solid photo. Wow. Yeah, he's gonna say something about that one. Yeah, it's a good photo. It is. It's fucking hilarious, man. That's crazy.
There are more.
There are more.
And now the Katharine Graham Award for Courage and Accountability.
Oh, this is
named
just,
for the legendary Washington Post publisher. And it comes with a prize
courage and
of $10,000.
Wait, why are you giving
this
people
year's
money?
award goes to the Wall Street Journal.
Why is the Wall Street Journal getting $10,000?
The Journal's courageous reporting on President Trump's past relationship with financier Jeffrey Epstein triggered the release of the so-called Epstein files, thousands of documents that might otherwise have remained hidden from the public. And despite the president's threat of a lawsuit, the Journal published a story about a provocative letter to Epstein bearing President Trump's signature. Trump quickly filed a $20 billion lawsuit against the Journal, revealing reporter Khadija Safdar's home address. Her family had to be relocated. The Journal was kicked off of Air Force One, but the reporters continue to file revelatory stories. Please welcome the winners of the Katharine Graham Award from the Wall Street Journal.
Yeah, and again, if he was a dictator, would he allow them to win that award in front of him?
Khadija Safdar.
It's such craziness.
Leary,
They're like,
Rebecca
oh, so brave,
Ballhaus,
so brave.
And Ryan Barber.
They were kicked off of
Their
Air Force One.
Joe
So brave.
Palazzolo could
And
not
now they're
attend
back
tonight.
here standing in front of Trump. And Trump's just like, okay, whatever you need. The Collier Prize for State Government Accountability is presented by the University of Florida College of Journalism and Communications.
And this is the award's 7th year at dinner, and it comes with a check for $25,000. It's a lot of money. This year's award goes to Care 11 in Minneapolis for its investigation, Housing Hustle. The investigation exposed a massive organized fraud scheme within Minnesota's Housing Stabilization Services Program, a Medicaid-funded safety net meant to help people with disabilities and those facing homelessness find and keep housing. Reporter A.J. Legault uncovered ethical and oversight breaches at the highest levels. The investigation drove sweeping state reforms and waves of federal probes and charges, said one Collier juror. Care 11's rigorous and piercing investigation of Medicare fraud had undeniable impact, including the suspension of more than 130 companies from the ability to bill Medicaid, the state terminating the HSS program, the firing of the state official in charge, federal raids, subpoenas, indictments, and convictions, and enhanced screening, oversight, and suspension powers for regulators. Here to accept the award from Care 11, our reporter A.J. Legault and producer Gary Knox. The Center for Integrity in News Reporting Award honors the most fair
Come on, get to Donald Trump!
News reporting by a member of the WHCA that has the courage to not fear and the discipline to not favor. It's sponsored and administered by the Arkansas-based Center for Integrity in News Reporting and comes with a prize of $25,000. The award goes to Tyler Pager of the New York Times. The judges said that in his coverage of the first year of President Trump's second term, Pager demonstrates a disciplined, even-handed approach across a wide range of subjects, including supporters and donors, foreign policy, the Justice Department, and energy. The stories take readers inside consequential presidential decisions while presenting the facts. The work is deeply sourced and carefully verified, reflecting a clear dedication to getting it right without bias. Taken together, this body of work stands as a strong example of fair, impartial, and objective journalism, precisely the standard this award is intended to honor. Let's hear it one more time for this year's winners. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. But before we do that, Tyler, let's give him another huge round of applause. And it's now my pleasure to introduce my good friend, longtime colleague, Jonathan Karl.
All right, final award of the evening. It is a high honor to present the award created to recognize the fierce and fair women who cover the White House every day. But first, I just want to give a big thank you to Weijia Jiang. Weijia, your leadership was steady when steadiness was in short supply. You refused to let an act of violence take this dinner away from us. And because of you, it has gone on. You insisted that happen. Thank you. Awesome, courageous. And Mr. President, I want to say it matters that you came here tonight. Thank you. For more than 100 years, presidents have chosen to sit in a room of reporters who ask tough and often uncomfortable questions and who report without fear or favor. It's important. Thank you for being here. And in that spirit, I am thrilled to present an award named after two women who didn't just cover history, they helped make it. In 1947, a woman joined the White House press corps and changed it forever. Her name was Alice Dunnigan. She was the first African-American woman ever credentialed at the White House. And just a few years later, she was joined by Ethel Payne, and together they looked the most powerful man in the world in the eye and demanded answers about civil rights for Black Americans. President Eisenhower didn't always welcome those questions, but Alice and Ethel kept going and kept showing up, and they kept asking. The WHCA Dunnigan Payne Award for Lifetime Achievement exists to honor their legacy and to recognize journalists who followed in their footsteps by breaking barriers for future generations. So tonight, it is a privilege to present the award to two women who did exactly that. In a field long dominated by men, Melissa Young and Susan Walsh each built extraordinary careers as photojournalists, not by waiting for doors to be open, but by bursting through them again and again for decades. Melissa Young, this one I knew very well, she worked at ABC News for 44 years. She began in local television in Miami and worked her way to Capitol Hill in the White House, where she was one of the first female photojournalists in the press corps. Melissa documented the presidencies from Ronald Reagan to Donald Trump. She covered campaigns, secretaries of state, and defense. She reported in disaster zones, war zones, all around the world. I worked side by side with Melissa for about half of those years, and I traveled to more than a dozen countries with her. I'm not going to mention the time I was briefly detained, because that was on Capitol Hill, and she came to my rescue. That kind of person. True. She's tireless and professional and a lot of fun to be around. She did it all with persistence, resilience, and quiet determination, retiring just last year. Susan Walsh, her career was built on anything but luck. When a promised job fell through after a college internship, she called the AP's Boston bureau every single day for 3 weeks, just saying, "Give me a shot, will you?" Well, finally, they did just that. She came in, she said yes to every assignment. She worked her way up. She got to cover Super Bowls, Boston marathons, 5 Olympic Games. She transferred to Washington in 1997. And from there, she went on to photograph every U.S. president from Jimmy Carter to President Trump, traveling the world as part of the White House press corps. In 1999, she was part of the AP team that was awarded the Pulitzer Prize for feature photography for her coverage of President Clinton's
Journalists giving each other awards is
she also served as the White House News Photographers Association, fighting for press access.
So much worse than Oscars.
Susan also retired just last year and traded the briefing room in for the ice rink, where she now plays hockey with her son. She's pretty good. Alice Dunnigan and Ethel Payne showed us what it looks like to refuse to be pushed aside so that they could keep bearing witness to what matters most. Melissa Young and Susan Walsh spent their careers doing exactly that. Two women, 80 years of combined service, and a legacy that honors everything this award stands for.
My job gave me purpose. I had a lot of fun. I saw myself as part of the world, that I was doing something that the world needed.
I was always really excited to be in the room, see it, be a part of it. It kind of gave me the access and the confidence to go up to people and look into other people's worlds.
The camera definitely made me fearless, especially when I was doing news and traveling internationally. you had to be aggressive. And that's when I had to be someone who I wasn't really sure I recognized all the time.
8 inaugurations, 5 Olympics, 6 Super Bowls, World Series, lots of sporting events, Apex summits, NATO summits.
What a great job to have.
You traveled in a way you would never do as a regular person. I remember being in the palace with
like an awesome
Fidel
guy.
Castro and Jesse Jackson, and I was just walking around and, just like sort of going, whoa, one of the craziest,
That's the
wildest
job.
ones that I'll always remember is when I was with President Trump at the DMZ. I swear there were times that I don't think my feet hit the ground as we were being moved, and it was such a chaotic, crazy thing.
9/11 happened, and that just completely changed my life. That's when different kind of travel started for me. When they asked me to go with President Bush to Iraq, there I was, and an Iraqi journalist stood up in front of me, literally in front of me, and threw a shoe. Secret Service jumped on him. I was right behind him. I remember trying to hold on to my tripod so I can keep shooting. And then when it was finally over, they rushed us into a room to do an interview with the president. I think I started to see that what I did was really important.
I was traveling overseas with Jill Biden, and we slowly went into Ukraine, get the picture of First Lady Biden meeting Mrs. Zelensky, and for all of I love you guys, my writer friends, but for all you writer friends who didn't want to give me a spot in the van, my picture ended up on the front page everywhere, and your stories got bumped inside. Sorry.
And I hope there are more women that will follow through on this, especially in television, because it really is a great job.
It was always such a compliment to be considered one of the boys, one of the guys. And now that I'm older and there's many more women doing this job, I'm like, you know what? We're going to claim our space. You guys can be one of the girls. Because we got this.
Yeah.
We got this.
All right, please join me in welcoming Susan and Melissa to the stage.
Can I say this is pretty awesome? I spent most of my career down in there, so I thank all the photographers and the photojournalists who had to cover this event. So it's really pretty cool to be up here and just kind of be a guest tonight. But they were gracious enough to give me an opportunity to say some things, so I'd like to say some things. First, Weijia, Jackie, and the entire Correspondents Board, I just want to thank you guys so much for selecting me this year, me and Melissa. I hope not to get emotional here. This award means like the world to me. I'm such a sucker. Sorry. I got this. This award means so much, not because it's named for 2 incredible trailblazing women, but because honestly, I felt that this association didn't always value what we did as photographers. And, there were many times that Melissa and I were the only 2 women in the White House travel pool. And I just have to say, things have changed, and I love it. So there's a whole lot more women out there, so yeah. I do have a couple of shout-outs. I have to thank the Associated Press for giving a chance to a young photographer so many years ago. I truly hope I made you proud.
She needs to lay off the Adderall.
To my son, Johnny. Oh, gosh. I practiced this, and I was okay.
Why are we crying? It's a fucking fake award the journalists give journalists. These people are fucking delusional.
I love
This is so much worse than the Oscars. This is so crazy. You're a journalist. You know that this means nothing. Why are you acting like it means
to
something?
all my friends and colleagues that I've traveled the world with, your camaraderie, your support,
Boring, exactly.
and most importantly,
Fucking come
your
on,
laughs
get to Daddy
have
Trump.
been
Let's excite the
absolutely
party.
best. And in my retirement, I
Let's
absolutely
go.
miss that.
He was supposed to speak fucking 25 minutes ago.
Thank you for all of that. And then finally, to all the journalists out there who are working incredibly hard to report the truth, despite access issues, insults, and subpoenas, keep it up. Your work matters, and we need you now more than ever. Thank you so much for all you do.
ABC has been breaking barriers since its start. Innovation is in our DNA, and being part of this work has always been my goal. Although this sounds simple, to achieve this, I've always had to fight. I'd fight to go places where they didn't send women. I'd fight to disasters in war zones. I'd fight to be part of the White House travel pool, covering 7 presidents. I'd fight to do an Oval Office address. And on a personal
Trump is a
level,
Nazi?
I'd fight to have
Don't
a family while keeping my
think Trump's a Nazi.
24/7 job.
Don't spam or I'm
Thank you
gonna
to the White
fucking
House
block you, bro.
Correspondents Association for
spam.
recognizing me.
Say it once.
The first
Get
female
it.
broadcast
All
camera
right,
person.
fucking
this
5-minute timeout now.
I am
For
so
the fucking retard that doesn't know how to listen. Actually,
to
say yeah,
receive
5
this
minutes.
award
5 minutes, fucking faggot. God,
for
what
a
retard.
lifetime of breaking barriers. I've been fighting for 44 years to be the best at capturing all the action at the White House since Ronald Reagan. My advice, keep up the good fight and tear down those walls. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Tear down those walls. Yeah, okay. Well, there's no other walls to tear down. They need to build them first. They haven't even built the wall. They need to build the wall for the...
Congratulations again to all of our honorees tonight. I am confident that one day our scholarship winners could be the ones taking home awards. After all, not that long ago, we were you. Young people passionate about journalism and determined to make it work. I've been thinking a lot about my own journey to this podium tonight. I grew up in rural West Virginia, in a town at the foothills
Are
of
they
the
going to ever
Allegheny
fucking
Mountains.
end their bullshit?
A town called
Or are they just going to keep
Buchanan,
going all night?
population 5,500. Those images of the devastating floods that you've been seeing are from my hometown. My heart, thoughts, and prayers are with everybody there. After my dad finished grad school at
I'll be back 1 second,
WVU,
guys.
where he properly learned how to say, "Let's go Mountaineers," my parents decided to stay in the state to open a restaurant. It was such a treat when hunters came in and left deer meat as a tip. On Sundays after church, families packed into the dining room, all dressed up. My mom learned every customer's name, their favorite dishes. I worked the cash register, topped off glasses of sweet tea, and did my homework in the corner booth. A day like that seemed ordinary at the time. Looking back, to think that days like that could be considered ordinary is the most powerful reminder of how extraordinary America is. My dad came to the U.S. as a student with just $67, or as Frankie might say, 67. My mom holding a small suitcase in one hand and a toddler, me, with the other. Yet they built a new life, a successful business, and a real future. Our Chinese restaurant was the first in my town. Of those 5,500 residents, the Chinese American population of Buchanan was 3. My mom, my dad, and me. Growing up there was not always easy. Most folks had never laid eyes on people who looked like my family. But far more often than not, the community was welcoming and generous. Turns out deer meat is great in a stir fry. In Mandarin, the word for America is Meiguo. It literally means beautiful country, and I love that. America the Beautiful was never only about her landscapes or landmarks. It has always been about the promise that no matter where you come from, you get a shot at chasing your dreams. My dreams began right there in that family restaurant. A small TV in the back was often turned to the news, my dad's go-to for learning more English. In the middle of dinner service, it was the CBS Evening News, anchored by Dan Rather and Connie Chung. I was hooked. In middle school, I won a contest to be a student reporter for a national news show called Channel One. And when a local news crew came to cover it, they learned just how big my dreams really were.
I hope to be the next Connie Chung and better. That's kind of hard, but that's my goal. And so I'm going to work very hard at trying to be a broadcast journalist.
30 years later, it's surreal to say that I've sat in Connie Chung's old chair to fill in on the evening news. Connie and I have talked about how the White House beat and the White House Correspondents Association used to be a little bit of a boys' club. For decades, women could be members, but they were not invited to sit at this dinner until 1962, when a woman who would become Dean of the Press Corps insisted. Thank you, Mrs. Helen Thomas.
Wow. Women weren't allowed until the 60s?
So tonight it means
That's
everything
wild.
to stand here as the first woman of color ever elected president of this association in its 112-year history. I'm here because of the tenacious women who came before me, Melissa, Susan, and support from my family who are with us tonight. My husband, Luther, not from West Virginia, but Arkansas, similar enough.
After Trump issued subpoenas for the New York Times reporters, they should all be boycotting. How can they be in the same room as him? Well, I ask you this question. How could Obama literally arrest Edward Snowden and multiple other journalists during his tenure, and they also showed up?
My
Donald Trump
amazing
hasn't
daughter,
arrested
Francie,
anybody, just subpoenaed. But go look that up.
little
If the
brother
Obama
Jack,
administration
who's
arrested
sleeping
anybody,
by now.
any journalists.
I love you more
Go
than
ahead.
anything in the world. I love you the
Get
most.
back to me with the answer.
My parents came to a country with almost nothing to give their daughter everything. And now I have that because they could be with me in this moment. Mama, Baba, 谢谢. And sitting with them, my middle school video production teacher, Mrs. Diane Williams, who spent countless hours on my submission for that contest that changed my life. Like public school teachers across the United States, Mrs. Williams looked at a 13-year-old kid and said, "You can be whatever you want when you grow up," and she meant it. My story is like that of so many in this room and in this country, only in America. Only in America could a little girl born in China and raised in Appalachian coal country make her way to the Oval Office to ask questions of the President of the United States. Because when this is your home, you inherit something remarkable. The protections in the First Amendment: free religion, free speech, free press, free assembly, free petition. This fundamental right belongs to everyone. And that's exactly who the founders were thinking about when they protected a free press. Everyone, all Americans. They were not thinking about reporters. A free press is not a favor to journalists because we're special. We are not special. But America is. No matter who you are, the freedom to criticize without fear of being destroyed, that's not a bug in our democracy. It's supposed to be the feature. In 1786, writing from Paris, Thomas Jefferson told his friend back in Virginia, "Our liberty depends on the freedom of the press, and that cannot be limited without being lost." 5 years later, that thought was enshrined in the Constitution, after Jefferson urged James Madison to include a Bill of Rights. Many founders couldn't stand the press. Some things never change. But they understood if our access is restricted, it's really the people's access to information that is limited. If the media faces government pressure or censorship, it's the people who end up knowing less. That was true then, and it's true now. But having press freedom comes with a tremendous responsibility. We can't demand accountability without practicing it. Criticism of
How
the
is
media
Trump
can
worse?
be unfair.
They
It can
arrested
also be
journalists.
legitimate.
Trump has
We
not
get a
arrested
lot
any
right,
journalists.
but sometimes
Get back to
we
me.
get things wrong. We mistake proximity to power for understanding it. And at times we get trapped in our own bubbles. There is a difference, though, an existential difference between criticizing the press and trying to undermine it. One is healthy and it makes all of us better. The other is exactly what the founders hoped to prevent. Around the world, press freedom is not guaranteed. In many countries, reporters who criticize the government are detained without trial, their stories erased. In the worst cases, they never make it home. Tonight, we think about all of them, and we think about the protections that set us apart as a nation. Just 20 days ago, America turned 250 years old. The First Amendment is a big part of how she made it this far, and it falls on all of us to make sure it carries her through to the next 250 and beyond. President Trump, I've covered you for a long time, and so have many reporters in this room. When we ask questions, you push back, you give us answers, and we push back. You have always been a deal guy. Well, that's the deal. And the First Amendment is a done deal. And that's what we toast tonight, the freedoms that brought us back together even after they were threatened. So let's raise a glass to what makes ours a beautiful country. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the 45th and 47th President of the United States, President Donald J. Trump.
Wow, I love that person. The person goes, and if Trump is on his, bro, move along. Ain't for you. Channel's not for you.
Wow, that was
Go
very
watch some
beautiful,
Parks and
but this
Bullshit.
has not been an easy evening, all these awards.
That's good. There we go.
Do I have a say in those awards, all those awards? But it's great to be back at a place that I know very well because I built it. And I'm very proud of it because I built it for $2.9 billion less than the Federal Reserve building, which is a lot smaller, by the way. Figure that one out. But I am delighted to be here at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Amazing people, a lot of people that I like. Some I don't like at all. But I respect most of them. I must say that you do a great job, amazing job, and it's an honor. As I said 3 months ago, the show must go on. We were backstage, and we both wanted to just have it go on, whether it was 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, it didn't matter. But in the end, it made more sense to do it the way we're doing it. And we had a great news conference at the White House, in a very important room. And you did very well. I think we all did very well. It was a hell of an evening, I can tell you that. Won't soon be forgotten. And I think a lot was learned from that evening. A tremendous amount was learned about security and about other things, the dangers of what we all do. But just like my presidency, the second time is always better. It's always better. And the third time will be better yet. I'm only kidding. From the earliest moments after the attack on our dinner last April, I knew we had to reschedule this event as soon as possible. We had to do it very quickly, and we met very quickly, and we figured something out. But the attempted mass murder at the Washington Hilton, that's what it could have been, was an assault on our democracy itself. Very serious situation. Many of you were there with me, and some showed extreme bravery, like Pete Hegseth, Steve Miller, Tom Holman. Really? They were standing on tables, and most of you were under the tables, okay? But they did. They showed. I saw every one of them that was standing up in those tables. I didn't know if they were brave, if they were smart, if they were stupid as hell. But they were on those tables in some cases, and there were a lot of different feelings going on in the room at that moment. But after hearing the gunshots, many people yelled, "Get down, get down." which caused Nicki Minaj to start twerking. Do you believe it? Get down.
What?
She's the only one that really understood what that meant.
Bro, what? Bro, what?
Quite an evening. But
You just
tonight
did a
we come
shooter
back
joke
together
into
to
a
answer that
twerking joke?
heinous attack with unwavering resolve. And every one of us here this evening to show that in America we do not yield to political violence. We don't. We can't do that. Can't do it. So in this country, we believe in freedom of speech. We settle our differences not with bullets, but with open and vigorous debate. And no deranged loser with a gun will ever change that. We can't let that ever happen. There are a lot of very dangerous people out there. We can't let it happen. I want to begin by expressing our gratitude to the incredible men and women who put their lives on the line every day to protect my family and myself, all presidents, and lots of others. That's the United States Secret Service. So I appreciate it very much. And Sean and the whole group, amazing job. Amazing job. In recent months, they've repeatedly responded to threats with speed and professionalism and extraordinary courage. And there is no better example of that than Officer Victor Gonzalez, who we just met. It was amazing. What he did was amazing. When the would-be assassin charged the checkpoint at speed, he was fast. You know, when you looked at that, you had to look at it about 10 times before you really saw what was going on. He was quick. Nasty. The gun made him nasty, actually. But Officer Gonzalez engaged the attacker without hesitation and took a bullet to the chest after his ballistic vest, fortunately, was on, saved his life. And Victor did not even want to go to the hospital for a checkup. We insisted, really, we wanted him to do it. We insisted, but he didn't want to go. So to Officer Gonzalez, Secret Service, Metropolitan Police, law enforcement generally, and even all of the military surround us in the room tonight, we salute you and we thank you with all of our hearts. Thank you very much. Great job. Great job. Great job. These are great people. So this evening we're picking up right where we left off, so let's have a little bit of fun. You know, I said, what do we do here? Is this supposed to be fun? Am I supposed to be serious? Am I supposed to be a comedian? So I guess you said maybe a little bit of everything. I know one thing, I could never have done the speech that I had ready just a short while. Oh, that was going to be a doozy. I was so psyched. I was going to rip people. And I don't know, just something changed. It's really for the better, but I just wouldn't want to do that. But we'll do a little ripping if you don't mind. But it is true. I said, how do we handle this? It's going to be a different kind of an evening, and it is. And in many ways, it's a more beautiful evening, actually. Everyone's looking really good tonight, and I know it was not easy finding shoes to go along with your bulletproof vests, which many people didn't want to wear because they'd rather die than look 20 pounds heavier. You know that, right? We have that a lot.
These jokes are a little...
They put one on me. I said, are you sure I'm not wearing this? No, you look exactly 20. They say, sir, it's about 21 pounds. I said, not good. But I want to thank the outgoing president of the White House Correspondents Association. Now, she won't admit it, and she should not admit it, but we sort of became friendly. You know, in times of stress, on occasion, you become friendly. I have a lot of respect for Weijia, and I tell you, we went through a little bit of a war together. It turned out pretty good. It turned out pretty good because of a lot of good people. They stopped the tragedy, so I want to thank you very much. Fantastic job. And Weijia worked extremely hard to ensure this dinner was rescheduled, and we want to just thank her family. I just met her parents, her children, her husband. What a perfect family. So it's really great. Thank you very much, all, for putting up with this, right? But let me also thank the incoming president of the Correspondents Association, Jackie Heinrich. She can be very tough as a reporter, I will tell you. She can be nasty. She looks so beautiful, but she can be so nasty. How could that happen? But she just got married to a very successful congressman, a very good congressman. I'd like to have a couple of more votes from it. That's okay. On occasion, he shows a little independence. We don't like that. But now he's a very professional guy, and he loves our country. But that's a big thing. I just see what takes place. We're talking about what takes place to be in the position that you're leaving and that Jackie's coming into. And it's a lot of work, a lot of friendships, a lot of talent. And so, Jackie, congratulations. And congratulations are also in order for our favorite White House press secretary, Caroline Levitt, who just had her second child. You and your husband. She's great. She's done a fantastic job. We all love her. She's done a fantastic job. She's another one. She can be nasty. But sometimes she has no choice, right? But Caroline may have one of the hardest jobs in the White House. She has to deal with all of you all of the time, and you can be very difficult. You can be very, very difficult people, but I'm probably being a little bit oversensitive. Sometimes I really do think that some of you don't like me. In fact, I read a report, I get 93% negative publicity. 93. So how the hell did I win the election by so much? Think of it, I don't think that's true. I can't believe it's 93. In the 80s maybe, but not 93. But this place is really the largest group of Trump derangement syndrome people
Eric Mossad Kirk's there? I didn't see
ever
him.
put together at one time, I suspect. Some of you are lucky that our last dinner was cut short because I had brought with me what would possibly have been, I'm telling you, I had something. I was going to go after you. I feel so badly doing this. It's going to be such a letdown. Oh, yay. But your lives were really in danger the last time for an opposite reason. But on the plus side, your careers were saved, and we really do. We have a complete and total. I love the words complete and total. They say, but it means almost the same thing. I said, it doesn't matter when you say it. It's called emphasis. It's called emphasis. But everyone is now really warming up. The new White House Military Center, drone port, highly protected ballroom. We have our ballroom. The windows are this thick. I said to the people, well, if a bullet hits, what happens? Nothing. Nothing. It bounces right off, sir. This is the greatest bulletproof glass. I said, AK-47. That's supposed to be a big one. I don't know so much about the guns. My sons know a lot. But I said, I know it's big. What would happen? They go up, meaning it can take more. I said, so if I'm making a speech and I hear that pinging sound at a window, what would I do? Sir, leave the room right away, but you're going to be safe. We're building something that's going to be amazing. And in light of what we went through, I think people understand it. It's going to be amazing. A phenomenal, one of the biggest drone ports anywhere in the world, right on the roof, right protecting the White House, not only the ballroom. And what's underneath, it's supposed to be a top military secret, what's underneath, but then you get sued as usual, and you have to reveal that you're building this unbelievable situation downstairs with room after room of very complex stuff. It was the military's dream to have it built. I wanted to have a ballroom because for 150 years they wanted it. And then the generals came to see me and they said, sir, you're building something. This gives us an opportunity to do something that will be
put some shit underneath? Okay, how many other times have they done that and not gotten caught?
It's very hard to build under a very fragile building like that. It's very fragile. It's old and a little different construction standards, frankly. And this is an opportunity for us to build something very powerful. I said, let's keep it secret. They said, no, we're telling you, sir, let's keep it secret. And then we get sued and we revealed every room, We told the people that did the suing, they're not good people. We told them, we said, you're being very unpatriotic when you bring a suit like this, but it is what it is, but it's moving fast. We're ahead of schedule. We're right on budget, and it's going to be something like I think no country has. I just visited China. They have this magnificent room, the Great Room. They call it the Great Room. It's a great room, but what we have is going to blow. There won't be anything like it. It's going to be fantastic, and with all of the things that are going along with it for safety and security of future presidents. I'm only going to be using it for about 6 months, assuming we finish it right on time. I get to use it. Somebody said, he's building it for himself. I'm building it for the future. I'm not building. I use it. Now, had I not gone down 6 or 7 stories, then in that case, I would have been able to get a couple of years out of it. But that was far more complex what we did downstairs than what we do upstairs. So we're very proud of it. That's going to be amazing.
Where's the jokes? Get back to the jokes.
I was just telling the whole group sitting at the table, we were talking about it. I said, I think, it's White House Correspondents, so I don't see any reason why you wouldn't be able to use that. It's going to be very large and very beautiful and very safe, and that's what you need. So I was thrilled to see that after witnessing the attack, even Democrat Senator John Fetterman told his fellow Democrats to drop the Trump derangement syndrome and build the White House ballroom. But it's much more than that. It's something that you're going to use. I predict that you're going to end up using it, and a lot of people are going to end up using it. They're going to be as safe as you can possibly be. But despite everything that happened at the previous dinner and all of the dangers involved, I'm told that this is still the hottest ticket in town. This ticket to get in tonight, because it's a smaller room, it's a beautiful room, it's a luxury room. See those beautiful chandeliers? I can tell you everything about them if you'd like to know. See that beautiful Capitol above? See the beautiful Capitol? See everything, the brass? Those chandeliers are great. I'm looking at them, saying, I wonder if I could, I sold this building, and they're doing a nice job, but they're nice people. But I'll tell you, I'm looking at them, saying, I wonder if I could walk out with those chandeliers, because you can't buy them. They're very special. I won't tell you the fact. I won't mention that they're Czech crystal, because I'd like to say everything's made here, but they are Czech crystal.
They are Czech crystal.
Beautiful. And the Waldorf people are doing a really nice job. We're proud of them, actually, because, when I left town, I was angry. I was a little bit angry. I was offered a nice price. I said, I'm getting out of that place. And then I said, let's make a comeback. And but I was very proud of this building. This building was hot. Remember the lobby floor? 82,000 feet. For those in the real estate business, 82,000 feet. That's a major floor. That thing was packed every single night. It was packed, mostly Republicans, I would say, but it was packed every single night. It almost brings back memories. But I left town, and I have just had nothing but good experience, and this might be the best experience of all, having all of these incredible people in this room. It's a great feeling, frankly. It's a great feeling. But tonight's event, thank you. But tonight's event is even crazier than the last time. In fact, it's so successful that I've been informed by CBS News' David Ellison, who's going to do a fantastic job. He's the owner. He bought it, spent a lot of money, and he's going to make, I think, fantastic changes and keep some of the great stuff going. But that next year they're going to call it the Trump White House Correspondents Center. He told me that, and I like that very much. We're going to change the name of it, okay? Oh, it's going to be so hot, just like our country is hot. We are hot, by the way. But to be honest, it's just about the only way that they're going to ever get me back here. You're going to have to change the name of the dinner. But how's that one going? Not too good. I hope that everyone finally got to enjoy their entire, very delicious beef tenderloins, very special beef. And I want you all to know that Bobby Kennedy, who's right here, personally ran over the cow in his car. And he cut it up and he brought it here for you to eat, so it's very fresh. And Bobby also suggested an appetizer featuring his favorite cut of male raccoon roadkill.
Look at his
We
wife.
drew the line at that, Cheryl. We said, no, we're not going to do that. We're not doing that. We love Bobby. I tell you, he's a piece of work. You think it is fun, but he is a very different kind of a
Hot
person.
special
I will
beef.
tell you.
Oh my God, that was so
smart,
good.
And he loves the country, and he wants.
We're gonna keep the audio rolling, guys.
to
I'm
be
just gonna
made
switch up
feel
the poll
good.
real
You
quick
agree
for our
with that,
second
Bobby?
hour.
He wants
Stay
people
with
to
us.
feel good, and he's doing a fantastic job. Thank you, Bobby. Thank you. We
Keep it
can
rolling.
joke
I just
all
gotta
we
get the
want.
poll going
Thank
again.
you.
We got our runoff going. Who?
A
will
lot's happened
be
since the
president?
last time we were all together. Last month, we hosted one of the most incredible sporting events in world history at the White House, the UFC Freedom 250 fight, the UFC fight. When I announced that we're going to build a boxing ring right outside of the front door of the White House,
Is it
that
Gavin
took a lot
Newsom
of
that was
heat.
in the lead? Gavin
But
Newsom
it
was in
turned
the
out
lead.
that was, they say, about the most viewed fight in history. It was beautiful. So many things happened. It was supposed to rain.
All right, get your vote in for
We're
that
going
second
to do
hour
it
now.
the week
Back to
before,
Donald
and the
Trump.
weather was beautiful. And the weather came and it went, and now we came up to Wednesdays. They said, sir, this was on a Sunday night, replacing 60 Minutes, which is nice and unusual because usually it's Saturday night. And they said, sir, this was from Wednesday on. Tell me about weather, right? Sure, it's going to rain. I think you're going to have to. It's going to be one of the worst storms that we've seen in a long time. It's coming up the coast. It's going to hit you on Sunday night. It's going to be a disaster. I'm saying, can you believe? And you saw the ring we built, Dana White, the great Dana White, and everything. We had the best fighters in the world. Turned out we had the best fights that most people have ever seen, including me. It was just a miracle. But what happened is we're waiting for this rain to come all day long, and it's coming, and it's horrible. And it's 8 o'clock, and we say, I think it hasn't rained yet. I said, maybe we should postpone it an hour. Maybe we should make it the next day. We didn't know what to do. And finally, we just said, let's just have it. And it never rained. It was perfect. In fact, the week before, it was 92 degrees. It was nice, but this was like 72 degrees. And the rain was coming, and it came right over the White House, and it was like, thank you very much. It went
Thank you very much.
And other areas were drenched a few miles away. We didn't have a drop of rain. And it was absolutely one of the most incredible things anybody's ever seen. People said it's one of the most incredible nights of their lives. So just remember, before I came along, if you wanted to see someone lose consciousness on the south lawn of the White House, all you had to do is ask Joe Biden a question. They'd remember that. Oh, you think I'm kidding?
Dana White, the great Dana White.
But the big fight was such an amazing success that tonight I'm pleased to announce that we're going to host an even bigger one right in front of the White House. Every Friday night, every Saturday night, we're going to have fights in front of the White House. But we do have something coming and I'm only kidding. You know, the one thing about the press that I learned, don't be sarcastic. Because I'm a very sarcastic person, and I get sarcastic, and most people know that, but you have some bad people that will write it exactly like I say it. And I said I was only kidding. But we are going to have Indy 500. Roger Penske's coming in mid-August, and they're going to have it all throughout Washington, the greatest cars, the greatest drivers in the world. And that's going to be something. Already they have over 350,000 people signed up, going down Pennsylvania Avenue, around the Capitol. And Roger, who's incredible, he won the Indianapolis 500 20 times. Think of it. Germany, Japan, all these countries, they spend billions and billions of dollars trying to win the Indy 500. Yeah. And Roger wins it. He literally won it.
If you're playing the drinking game,
times.
it's time
On
to
the
drink.
18th time, I said, you know, that's amazing. I'm going to give him the Presidential Medal of Freedom. And I had him up. And then he won it 2 times after that. The guy's amazing. And he lost the last one by about 6 inches, if anybody watched it. So they're coming here, and it's going to be something really exciting. We have unbelievable events. It's an unbelievable country. And on July 4th, we were over at the mall, and it was raining. It was supposed to be really bad again. And we had 450,000 people show up, and that's a light number. And I was told, sir, we're going to have to cancel the event. This was not good. And it was drizzling a little bit, not raining very hard. And people are calling me, friends of mine were calling me. And I got a call from Brett Baer. Brett Baer said, it's not raining. I said, where are you? I'm standing at the mall, and I'm waiting to go in the White House. Then others called up. They said the same thing. And I said, you know, this is terrible. But there was lightning. Not big lightning, but you don't have to have big lightning. It takes just a little bit to do some big damage. So they said, everybody must leave. 450,000 people were forced to leave, and they left. And then I said to myself, I said, let me call up and find out what the hell's going on. And I called up and I spoke to a brilliant young man. He said, don't worry about it, sir. We can do it in a couple of weeks. I said, you can't do it in a couple of weeks. This is the 250th birthday. In 2 weeks, what are we going to do? Say, let's go? We're going to have a redo? No. I said, I'll speak if I have to speak at 3 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock. I don't care. Call them all back. They're all gone. 450,000. And most of them were in cars. They were heading back to Texas. And it was sad. And we said the show must go on. Very much like here, we said the same term, right? The show, it's a great term. It's true in life. The show has to go on. The show must go on. And I said, the show must go on. I put it out on Truth. The show must go on. And we had probably, Peter, 150,000 people come back up higher. Maybe, thank you. Let's stand up, Peter. Tell them. More, right?
Stand up, Peter.
It might have been more, but it
Tell
was
Peter has to
amazing.
stand up.
It was just an amazing
Stand up,
crowd.
Peter.
And
Award
actually
from Trump.
worked out better, a little like
For
this.
being
It worked
Peter.
out better than if we had done it at the normal 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock time. It was incredible. We started speaking at 11 o'clock in the evening, but tremendous numbers of people. Thousands and thousands came roaring back, and it was a great evening. And it was a celebration. And we didn't do it the following day, and we didn't do it 2 weeks later. We did it when we were supposed to do it. It was a fantastic celebration. But I can exclusively reveal to you this evening that for the heaviest of the heavyweights, we will have sloppy Chris Christie, one of the sloppiest human beings you'll ever meet, fighting, I would say, I could mention the governor of Chicago, but I'm going to mention instead Jerry Nadler. And they're fighting for a big piece of cheesecake, big fat piece of cheesecake. Who the hell wrote that line? But it is true. And then you have a Congresswoman, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, AOC plus 3. That's her 3 friends, right? AOC plus 3, and I watched her give that answer when she was over in Europe. It was not a good answer. If I ever gave that answer, I would be out of politics. Remember, you cannot have a 19-second wait time to answer really a quite simple question. But we'll then have a rematch against an extreme, simple question on a foreign policy from Munich Security Conference. It was a big security conference, and this was our first time up in terms of that. And we had a sort of little preview, and then Anderson Cooper is going to fight Lawrence O'Donnell. I'm not a fan of Lawrence O'Donnell. I like Anderson, actually, because he's covered me well for many years. Then he went bad as soon as I went for politics. But for years, he loved interviewing. I did so many interviews with him, and he was great. But, you know, he's got a little different persuasion than me in many ways, actually. And Lawrence O'Donnell, never liked him, never thought he had any talent. But he's still making a living, so I can't knock it. But we had a contest for who had the lowest ratings and the lowest IQ on television. And that was actually Don Lemon, I think. You know, when I said that he's the dumbest man on television, I said, you know, when you say some things, you never make a comeback. It's not like, oh, gee, hey, Don, let's have dinner some night. But I know what I'm saying. And then you have Bette Midler and Jane Fonda actually
Damn,
held
the
a
poll right at
protest
the edge.
first UFC fight.
49-51
They didn't want to see the
right now.
fight. Very few people want. They held an event. Like 3 people
If Gavin
showed
Newsom
up.
wins tonight, that kind
And
of feels
given the
right. It
choice
is the White
between
House
seeing
Correspondents'
some
Dinner.
of the really beat-up faces of the UFC, almost everyone chose the people in the UFC. It was between the 2 of them of the UFC. And what about Bruce Springsteen? What the hell happened to that guy? He looks like hell. I don't care what anyone says. I'm not supposed to say. I'm sure he doesn't like the way I look, but I don't look so bad. But at a recent concert, Bruce, all he did was talk politics. He ought to run for office. That'd be interesting. But all he talked about, he made 4 political speeches in his 3-hour show. The tour has been renamed Bored in the USA. And his new song was so bad that Chris Christie, who's like a fan, You know, he goes out and tells everybody how he hates
he's like
Chris
a
Christie.
fan.
Keep that guy out of my... And I see Chris Christie there again, high-fiving Bruce Springsteen in the aisle. And Bruce Springsteen saw him and didn't even lift his hand up. And I just wanted, because I used to be friendly with Chris. Chris, when somebody doesn't like you, write them off. Forget it. You got billions of people in the world. You don't have to make a jerk out of yourself.
Facts.
But usually a comedian hosts this dinner.
That's true.
And
Never
I
make a
think we
jerk
sort
out of
changed
yourself.
it to
Learn
now
that
we're going to
tonight
have
from
somebody who I
Kim.
think is really spectacular. But I've watched comedians get up for the dinner because I have been here actually quite a few times. People don't realize. And there's one time in particular when Barack Hussein Obama hosted it. Do you know who that is? And he hit me hard. But actually, he hit me with respect. I was sitting with Melania at a table, and you had Brooklyn Decker, supermodel, at a table right next to her. And I really always will like her. She's married to a great tennis player, Andy. And she was at the table, not at my table. And I have watched this clip thousands of times. They keep playing it because they think that was the evening I decided to run for president. It was not. In fact, I
confirmed.
loved the evening. I looked at my wife. I said, can you believe it? All these people, that's all they're doing is talking about me. I love this dinner. It was nice. You know, it's amazing how things work out. He actually showed a picture
Didn't
of the
want to
White
run for
House
president.
with a
You
big
just
Trump
loved
on
that
top.
everybody
Like, I
was
put a
talking
sign-
about
and,
him.
You know, I'm sort of doing that when you think about it, right?
Wow.
I mean, he wasn't really wrong. But no, he was respectful. He was good. And it had nothing to do. It had nothing to do. I just decided that I wanted to make America great again. This had nothing
Oh
to
my
do with
God,
it.
this is so
I've gotten
crazy.
so many,
To bring it up again?
yeah, I've gotten so many
Wow, that's wild.
calls, and for years they've been saying, was that the moment you decided to run? Really, no. I left that night, and the press was there. A lot of the same people that I see, they said, did you have a good time? Unbelievable. And some thought I didn't have, but I did have. And I always remember, though, Brooklyn. She was so angry. She was much angrier than me. She was angry. She thought they were mocking me. And they really weren't. It was just one of those things. And I had a great time.
Wow.
But I left, and I sort of thought, I was there 3 or 4 times before that, but I sort of thought, wow, that dinner is really something special. And then I ran. I got elected. I thought the press treated me very, very unfairly. And I don't know. I think I made the right decision because you hate to go where maybe you're not wanted, but they did want me. They wanted me for ratings, and they wanted me for other reasons, but not for love. And I said, you know, I'm not going to go. First time that ever happened, I think. Was that the first time? Just about. Presidents always came. And I didn't go for 4 years because I got treated terribly by the press. In my opinion, unfairly. I know unfairly because I know the facts, but
my opinion unfairly. I think that's the first time I've ever heard him say that. He's being really genuine in this speech. It's kind of weird.
All of the people, and they said, we'd like to do it. And I said, you know what? With time goes by, time passes, and you sort of look at life a little bit differently. I said, let's do it. And I didn't know it was going to turn out the way it did. It turned out to be the biggest event in the history of your day. That was by far the biggest, right? For all the wrong reasons. But as I said before, a lot was learned from that evening. Wow. So much having to do with so many different things, including security. But it's an honor to do it. This is my first. I mean, I've been to it numerous times, but as president, I haven't been here. And I'm glad. Wow. And they said, would you do it next year? I said, I will be back next year. Now, if you get really, really nasty, maybe not. I don't know. But we're going to be back next year.
I mean, it's crazy. He did let them win all their awards. I mean, it's CNN, it's Wolf Blitzer, it's these people. Like, they were all there doing their thing. He gave the...
But this year,
and he came. It's their event, and he came.
Not to have a comedian, so they considered using Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon. These guys, they're terrible. They're terrible. Stephen Colbert. These are people without talent. They get a lot. They have talent. You know who has talent? Their agent, getting them the money they get. They have no talent. But they are not comedians. They're not funny people. They're angry people. They're sick people. But the association really put on a big show, and they have somebody very special. I look forward to seeing him. And so they thought about going with a professional clown for entertainment, but Adam Shifty Schiff was not available. You know, he's known. I called him. I hate some people. You know, I shouldn't say this. I'm not supposed to hate. I'm supposed to love everybody. But he's a terrible person. He's a liar. And I called him Watermelon Head because he has the largest head I've ever seen with the smallest neck, pencil neck. How does that big, fat, ugly head stand on a little pencil?
They're all laughing, and they're all trying to act like they're not.
Even Rosie O'Donnell reached out from Ireland. She really wanted to be here in order to honor me. She loves me
She
very
wanted
much.
to be here to honor me.
She was desperate to come back to the United States and pay her respect to Donald J. Trump. But that didn't work out, unfortunately, because nobody wanted her to come back. But she's one of the greatest sufferers of Trump derangement syndrome. She's a sick young woman, sick older woman, I guess now. So instead, we're honored to have, for entertainment, the very talented mentalist, Oz Perlman.
The mentalist. He's like, what the fuck?
And
he's like, how did I get here?
Everybody,
Bro's like, how did I get here?
Yeah, I think I'll say, what the hell else am I going to do? I've got Iran, I've got this, I've got that. Which is all going extremely well. Don't believe the fake news.
He's got the mentalist. He's going to make the
it's
Epstein
only
files
we
disappear.
were talking before, I said, so we've hit Iran very hard. Their Navy is gone. Their Air Force is gone. 250 jets, no longer.
Half the jet has TDS
150
facts all day.
Boats.
Love my
Boats.
community.
In fact, I said, why the hell didn't we keep them? We could have used them.
I might not have blue hair, but I'll let you live.
Of the sea. They have no radar. They have very few drones left, despite what you see. And every once in a while, they're going to set some things up, but they don't have much left. And by the way, they are talking to us right now. They'd love to make a deal. I don't think they're ready to. I don't think it's time yet, but I'm willing to listen. But they cannot have a nuclear weapon. We don't want to see Washington, D.C., or any of our cities, or Israel, or frankly, the Middle East, destroyed with a nuclear weapon, because I know the power of nuclear weapons. I see it. I get to see it. We're not going to let that happen. So this is all about, we will not let them have a nuclear weapon. And they would use it. They would use it if they had it. But Oz, I do have one question about what happened that time, because he was there. How the hell did you not see that coming? He sees everything. He sees everything. He's telling me about your grandmother and your this. Why the hell didn't we ask him that question when he gets up here? Why didn't he see that coming? But of course, this evening, it's really all about the fake news media and your handling of prizes, writing and producing and performing made-up stories like the Academy Awards. You know, Academy Awards used to be the epitome of ratings. Outside of the Super Bowl, it got the second most ratings. Now it's down in the dumps. Nobody wants to watch it anymore because they took on Trump. They hit me all night long. They hit me. The winner is so-and-so. I want to talk about Donald Trump. I hate this man. Nobody wants to hear this stuff. Right, Peter? Nobody wants to hear it.
Right, Peter?
They used to have 48 million people.
Peter?
Now they have 2 people watching.
He's talking to Peter now.
They'll learn their lesson. But I want to
my daughter had her swim meet.
CNN's
Reference from earlier today.
Collins on receiving her award. It was all about me. It's a fake. She shouldn't get the award. It was a fake. But I didn't mind. I said, Caitlin, congratulations. But it was fake. There's no question about it. But she's a young, attractive woman. She never smiles. I said, Caitlin, do you ever smile? Smile. You have a nice position. You're at CNN Fake News. You should be a happy person. So smile, Caitlin. Just smile. But we attack, and I thought Caitlin had really made it big with a major new sponsorship, but then I informed her that it wasn't her on the Bud Light can. It was Dylan Mulvaney. And Dylan Mulvaney cost Bud Light $35 billion in market cap. That was the worst commercial ever made, by the way. For those few people who want to hear that, most people don't care, but I would. I wouldn't want to hire Dylan anytime soon. Think of it. They hired Dylan Mulvaney, and their market cap has gone down by $35 billion.
Well,
who wrote that commercial?
Ain't nobody seen
And then you have writer Josh Dorsey. He also received. He's been killing me for years.
No, it's the writer of it.
Tonight he shakes my hand. He hugs me. Everything nice. He kills me. Josh is amazing. He writes more stories than any human being.
Hello from France.
There's nobody
Hello from Austin,
that
Texas.
writes more than Josh. He'll write 4 stories about me a day, all different subjects. I mean, I had the other day 3 stories and one on the, he was upset about this. 1 was on page 7, 3 were on page 1. They were all written by Josh. But he's hit the big time, and he's a workhorse, and yet he's almost unhireable. You know, he's just one of these guys. Wall Street Journal's lucky to have him, but you really, it's unbelievable. He's almost unhireable. CNN is also here, and I'm very disappointed they didn't bring Fake Tapper because he's had a rough couple of years. Fake has. You know, he calls me up every once in a while. I pick up my phone. I used to go to this young lady. I'd say, "Any calls from the press?" "No, sir." I said, "Oh, now I'm the President of the United States, right?" I'd say to Stephen Chung, "Is Stephen here someplace?" "Where's Stephen?" "He's one of the toughest human beings I've ever met." "Don't ever wrestle Stephen, you'll be in big trouble." But I say, "Stephen, let me ask you, did the press call?" "No, sir." You know, when I was a developer, I'd get a call every half an hour. For whatever reason, I always got disproportionate press. So I said, "Stephen, nobody called?" "No, sir." 2 hours later, I say, "Hi, Steve, how are we doing? Everything good? Anybody call?" "No, sir, no press calls." I said, "I'm president." "Nope, they never call." So this went on for about a week. I'd say, "Caroline, did the press call?" "No, sir, no calls." I said, "Nothing." It's over a week. I haven't received a call. So I said, "You know what I'll do? I'm going to give the press my phone number." That was the stupidest thing I ever did. I'm getting a call every 3.7 minutes. "Stephen, I don't know where the hell you've been."
It's a press phone
now, but the press
yeah.
calls.
But
I'm
it was
getting
his
calls,
original
ring,
phone at
ring.
first.
I was with somebody today. They said, "I've never heard a phone ring as much as it's fresh." Now, I look at the thing and usually just delete, delete, delete. Every once in a while, it'll be one of the people in this room that I like, and I'll pick it up. Like this one right here calls me on occasion, right? She'll call me and she says, "Hello, sir. How are you? We want to talk about some horrible subject, like a horrible, depressing subject." I say, "Jackie, I don't want to talk about it. Congratulations, however, on your new marriage. But I don't want to talk about it." But it's true. And people call me now. And so for weeks I go, no calls. And I learned then that both of them, they feel that I'm doing a great job and they feel I'm above it all. And that no person, hundreds of people call, no person is good enough to talk to Trump. And so we don't even bother telling you. That's not the way it works, Caroline. You have to let me know, because sometimes I do like to speak to the press. But now I have the best system I've ever had. It rings, and just so you understand, you're much better at putting your name. Because if there's no name, I just can't do that. You know, I pick up every once in a while. "Hello, I'm from Reno, Nevada. We're a startup paper. We're calling it the Reno Express." I said, "Do you believe I'm the President of the United States?" "Mr. President, could I have your views on Iran?" And I just hang up. No, I get the craziest calls. I mean, some of them, my wife said, "I can't believe you do this. This is a hell of a way to live." But sometimes they get calls from very important. Sometimes I can straighten out stories that are going to be fake, and I can make them from a fake story to a good story. I always find that when you don't speak to the press, you always get a bad story. When you do speak to the press, you have a shot at getting a good story. Oh, look.
Yeah.
No, look, if I were a reporter, let's say I'm a
big
big reporter, I work for the failing New York Times.
You know what? It's because people that was the one thing that people did not like about Biden. Even if their politics were identified with him, if you worked in the press, if you worked doing what I do, if you were a creator in the space of politics, it was very frustrating. They were very hidden. They were not available.
I work for
thank God he is, because we should always set the precedent as an American president that you should be available.
Be here. But I get a call. I've always found that, speaking to them, you just do better. You do better when you can, when you have the time. You speak to the reporter. You treat the reporter with respect. Sometimes now there are reporters where it doesn't matter. You can be so nice to them, it doesn't matter. You get treated unfairly. But you have a lot of great reporters where when you speak to them, you can get your point across, and that's a good thing. But some people say that Jake Tapper is a great investigative reporter in D.C., and that's why after moderating our debate, It only took him 1 year to break the story that Joe Biden might possibly have suffered from cognitive decline. It took him 1 year. He wrote a book about how great he was mentally, not too good. And I don't like Biden because Biden was very unfair to a lot of people. But Jill Biden insists that Joe would have beaten me in 2024, even though he was way down. She said he was way behind in the polls because he was seriously ahead. She felt he was going to win because he was seriously ahead on deceased voters. He was leading in the deceased crowd, and there were a lot of them. You're finding out there's a lot of them. Look at the numbers that just came out yesterday. And it's traditional that at least one or two potential presidential hopefuls attend the correspondents' dinner, but many of them seem to have really chickened out. I was disappointed that Gavin Newsom didn't show up. He didn't show up. He should be here. But I heard that he recently said that we will lose our country if we don't fight fire with fire. And to be fair, there's only one thing we know about Gavin, and that's that he definitely doesn't want to fight fire with water. He's got a lot of water, never uses it. What a disaster. That should have never happened.
That's a good one.
Gavin
That's a good
Newsom
one.
recently
That's a solid one.
did a career-threatening.
They might
one of
not
the
laugh
worst
at it, but that's a
interviews
good
I've ever
one.
seen, where he said that he can't read a speech. He's incapable of reading a speech. He's a low IQ person. He's smarter, however, than all of the people in the room. And then he gets sued for being a racist, okay, when he said that. But he basically said he has various mental incapacities. He has difficulty in various other ailments mentally. And I'm looking at him saying, this is the worst interview. I'm watching this interview. I said, this is the worst interview I've ever seen given by a professional
And currently,
politician.
Gavin
I've been
is going to be
watching
president in our
politicians
poll,
for a long time,
guys.
mostly
53%.
on the previous side, because I haven't been doing this too
Is that what's going to
long.
happen
How am I
here?
doing?
Is that what's going to happen here? Is that, like, look at the people being quiet and looking down and not laughing anymore? Like, is that what's going to happen here? Is that everyone that's in the institutions is going to rally around Gavin Newsom? Because they were laughing at the Adam Schiff stuff. They were laughing at all their other ones. Now they're very offended that he's making fun of Gavin Newsom in California. Super weird.
Not bad for the number of minutes spent. Not bad, but with Gavin, so he said that all these things, and I said, anybody running against him, all they have to do is take that one interview and you can't lose. I actually put out a statement that Gavin Newsom has come out.
Because
and said he
53%
will
of the
not be
chat's
running for
completely
president,
retarded.
because nobody can say
Gavin
what
Newsom
he said
won't
about
win.
himself.
He's about to
and
get his 20th
survive.
win in our poll, guys.
Newsom was in big trouble when he openly
To the retarded side of the chat, why is it not okay to make fun of Gavin Newsom? Asking for a friend.
admitted that Kamala was
Because they're really
smarter than
offended
him.
at these fire jokes,
She
and I
said
thought that was a
Kamala
fire joke.
is smarter. If Kamala is smarter than someone, you don't want that person to be president of the United States. So
Is that the thing? Is it that you know that Kamala almost became president, so if you just do another white guy like Gavin Newsom, you can get across the finish line, and it's a predominantly fully anti-Trump, like, I hate Trump vote? Is that what it is? Like,
America?
all that tells you,
Between
it's a room full of
California's
commies?
policies
I don't know.
of
Gavin
enabling
Newsom isn't the
wildfires,
communist. He's like
paying
AIPAC. He's like
drug addicts to
holding
be
on to the Joe
homeless,
Biden train.
giving free sex.
After he's done with the speech, we're going to get the rest of the Nick Fuentes Hunter Biden interview. And I'm telling you, the way that Gavin Newsom is with his politics is exactly the way that John Ossoff is. And both of them are the same way as J.D. Vance and Rubio. They're the same as Hunter Biden in that scenario. They are not AOC. They are not like get rid of AIPAC, commie first kind of represent.
Changes to illegals and telling rich people they're going to take away, all of your money is going to be taken away. People are fleeing, and they're fleeing in droves. We can't have that in this country.
Pure TDS vote, maybe?
It's becoming such a horrible and dangerous
Why y'all vote for Gavin? Tell me
location that
in the chat.
Ilhan Omar, one of my favorites, and her brother are thinking about moving together, very much in love.
Is it a rage bait vote?
A video has surfaced recently of Ilhan giving a speech referring to World War II as World War XI. And they asked her about that. She thought she got it right. But I'm not surprised, because she's a low IQ person, and she's also a very dishonest person, and she ought to get the hell out of our country. She shouldn't be here.
Ooh,
She
whoa,
shouldn't be in our
whoa, whoa.
country.
Get out
She
of our
also calls
country.
her brother husband number one. Omar is
You're full
reportedly
of
being
wokies.
investigated for fraud. She revised her net worth. I was shocked to see that she was worth much more than $30 million. And then when the press got on her, she revised it slightly downward to less than 18,000. So she went from much more than 30 million to 18,000. And I know Democrats, and the word Democrat is something that's come into fashion.
Is he gonna spell it?
I changed the E with a U. Yeah. Most people don't know that dumb is a B, so we don't have to worry about that.
He's like, this guy's like, oh my God, they've talked about this. We've sat around bars and talked about how he spells it out every time that he does the joke. And now I get to see it in person. This man is fascinated. This member of the press is fascinated.
It's very quiet. I thought it was quite good, but I haven't gotten much credit for that. Fake news, good. Pocahontas, good. I won't say lying.
Fake news. He's going down the greatest hits to him at his first White House Correspondents' Dinner speech. Donald Trump goes down the greatest hits of Donald Trump. Fake news, Pocahontas.
Ted, because he's on my side, I don't talk about conquests, but we have a lot of them. I won't talk about it. They got a whole table full of Republicans there. They're saying, no, don't mention my frickin' name, will you please? But we've had a lot of good names. But the Democrats are there to destroy wealth. And honestly, they've gone absolutely crazy. Gavin Newsom's not only a man who
Never
really
took APAC? Let's check that.
wants to run for president. He's doing
That's
a bad
true.
job running a state. You can't have somebody like a J.B. Pritzker, who I understand is not present, sadly, but, some people say,
Ooh.
never use the fat word. And I don't. I would never call anybody.
Here we
fat.
go.
I have my own problems. It's not like I'm perfect. Sir, in the back, don't call him a fat pig, okay? I'm sticking up for him. Don't call him you. You can't do that, sir. You can't call J.B. Pritzker a fat pig. Please. All right? Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
That one bombed. That one was.
But the nice part is when you do that.
Donald Trump has to run his comedy speech across Shane Gillis's desk before he does it next year. I'm saying it now. Clip it now. Shane Gillis needs to read the speech before Donald Trump gives it next year. That was too far. That was Kill Tony levels. That was Hinchcliffe. We need to keep it in the Gillis lane. You're talking to the press here.
The press can't get you because I'm defending a man who obviously has a problem. Actually,
he's a good comedian, though, because he just keeps going. He's like, I know I'm bombing. I'm just going to go.
A lot of weight. I saw him recently. He lost quite a bit of
Okay,
weight.
there you go.
I don't know what the hell. He's got no chance, believe me. Anything he does, the family threw him out of the business. A number of other potential Democrat contenders sadly refused to show up tonight. We invited Elizabeth Pocahontas Warren. She's referred to
Okay, response back for Gavin Newsom. Actually, no historic AIPAC money, no pro-Israel money whatsoever. Some public funds funneled to the Democratic campaign through third-party sources for the state of California for Democrats in general. But he has never, nor any of his campaigns ever taken AIPAC money, but he has had a historically pro-Israel stance until late 2026. So he's been defending October 7th for
came up,
3 years.
We want you to apologize to
what a grifter.
Elizabeth Warren for calling her Pocahontas. And I ended up apologizing to the real Pocahontas. But Elizabeth Warren was supposedly of Indian heritage. And then she took the test and she only had 1,024th Native American. And I said, you know what? I think I'm more of an Indian than she is. So this is what we have to deal with. But Senator Warren did not accept our invitation to debate. I wanted to debate her on various and sundry things, and she decided not to do it. And I decided to bury the hatchet. It doesn't matter.
Bury the hatchet.
She Well, I'm not going to.
These people, that's the thing is he's like bombing and he needs to get the Shane Gillis mode. He needs to go next. He needs to get a little bit more safer play. The stuff he was doing at 3 o'clock was actually better, and he wasn't even doing jokes then. Like, why didn't he save the we need to tariff the diarrhea until he was at the correspondents' dinner? That would have been great for in this crowd. This is a crowd of leftist LinkedIn users, okay? These LinkedIn users would love the diarrhea joke. Stay on the diarrhea.
Say this next one. Do you want to hear this one? How bad? She wasn't.
Yeah, because you're bombing when you're like digging in, and it's like somebody should have written this better because you're now on your like third dig in, and it's going quieter and quieter. And he had the crowd before this, which was so cool. That was giving me chills. I was like, this is fucking cool. Like, this is really like, fuck anybody that says anything bad about this event. Like, this is the camaraderie event. But now he's doing exactly what the press wants. They're going to write their pieces tomorrow about the third act.
High up on her.
They're not going to remember the first two.
That?
And it's a shame because he was right there. He had him.
Sure
and if he had a professional comedian, he could have stayed in it, and he could have really got this.
How did he do?
I think
Not too good. I'm in the White House.
I think he's going to bomb the rest of this one out, guys.
He's not doing as well.
He's Trump. He's going to dodge. He's going to go right through. He's going to keep going.
But he's a deranged human being. He's a bad
damn,
prosecutor.
bro. Oh my God. He don't care if he bombs at all. This is the problem. He's on national television bombing, and he's just going to go for 30 minutes. He don't give a fuck. He's Trump. This is going to be the biggest comedic bomb in history because the crowd just does not get it. I might laugh at some of these jokes, but that was 3 in a row, and he's just continuing.
A great prosecutor, a fair prosecutor, but that's the great prosecutors, the ones that are fair. They're very important to a country, but this guy was a deranged lunatic.
You could hear a pin drop.
I saw his invitation.
Oh, if you're anti-Trump, tonight's your night, guys. He's losing right here. He had me in the chills moment. I felt like Obama 2008 again, man. That was crazy. And then he just fucking he always trumps it up. He does.
Tonight he was invited.
Fuck, how do you do that?
I put it in a private text to Chuck.
Oh, you gotta love that he fucking just.
Chuck saw him and he did a certain thing, and then one man that we had who should be here, he turned Palestinian.
No!
Who was 100% for Israel. 100%. Chuck Schumer, crying Chuck. Remember he cried at the airport over illegal immigrants? They were the fakest tears. There were people throwing water in his face. But now he's a proud, very proud Palestinian. In fact, I'm going to send him a beautiful Palestinian outfit tomorrow so he can greet
Oh my God! No fucking way! Bro, he just... Yo! If you love comedy, this is your wow! Name a worse bomb. Which is kind of crazy because, like, watching it on TV, like, watching it with you guys, like, it actually is really fucking, like, good. Like, I'm laughing at the bomb of it all. But, like, holy shit. He, like, missed the crowd, doubled down, tripled down, and then just said, fuck it, I'm just going to read the prompter. And he's just fully fucking, like, it's been 10 minutes of nothing. Whew.
Oh, when he comes to town next week.
And now he's calling Chuck Schumer a Palestinian. The Jewiest of Jewish New Yorkers. I don't know what the fuck is happening.
They're not treating Bibi too well, but Chuck wanted to join us tonight, but he didn't want to be violating many parts of the Palestinian rules, regulations, and certainly he didn't want to violate Sharia.
Wait, did he think he was like, if I start bombing, what do I do? And they're like, just start calling the Jews Palestinians. And he's like, all right. And now here he is like, hey, Chuck Schumer's a Palestinian, guys. Everyone's like, what, bro?
Law, his new his new founding. And all joking aside, I do think we need term limits in Congress. I think term limits are very important because I see what's happening. The other day, a senator I knew got a text, a great guy, from his wife.
But now I don't know. Like, do I think Trump's funny because he bombs? Or do I think Trump's funny because I agree with Trump? I don't know anymore. Because this is really fucking my head. Because the more that he bombs, the more that I love it. And I thought I was like kind of on his side against them with all the awards and all the weird wokeness at the beginning. Wolf Blitzer was annoying the shit out of me. And now I'm just like, oh my God, please bomb harder.
And she said, when you get home, I want
He's
to
gonna
have you
He's gonna bomb like no one's ever bombed before.
immediately come up the stairs and make love to me. And he said, I can't do both. You know what? In other words, can't go up the stairs and make love. Does anybody get that? Well, I thought that was actually pretty good. That was.
Now he's critiquing whether they think things are funny.
Actually, the only thing I thought was good in this whole frickin' stupid speech that they wrote.
Oh, okay. So now he's gonna shit out the speech, and that did get some laughs. Okay,
That was the only good one.
he got a break there finally. Holy fuck! He tried to break them with whatever weird joke that was, but I didn't even get what that joke was. And so that bombed too. And then he was like, "I thought that was the only funny thing," but then he shat on the joke writers. He shat on the speech. He was like, "I thought that was the only freaking funny thing in the whole speech," and that broke them, or at least a few of them. Enough that weren't, because again, there's like a little section over on the right that is Republicans, and they're all like, yay, which is odd because RFK is actually sitting in the independent section, like mostly like Midwestern reporter section, actually. So it's weird that he's tabled there. Maybe it's because he knows a lot of journalists or wanted to sit with somebody. But it's interesting because he did get a little break there. I think that he might have a chance to get out of this now if he stays safe. Again, I say go for the diarrhea tariff. He was right there this afternoon. He was saying he wanted to tariff the wildfires and tariff the diarrhea. And I'm like, dude, right now, next joke. You guys heard about that salad getting all the diarrhea? Well, we're going to tariff that diarrhea salad. Da-da-ba-ba-da-da-day! You just won over the LinkedIn crowd.
That went down with not exactly great laughter. I think, in other words, you can't go up the stairs and make love too, So we're looking for term limits. Does anybody understand this stuff? But I really do wonder whether the Democrats are trying to lose the midterms. In Maine, they nominated a guy with a Nazi
Nope.
tattoo. But don't worry, Democrats. Word is that Plattner's replacement, he throws bottles at women. This guy throws bottles. This guy's another lunatic, by the way. Although I think Plattner might have done surprisingly well because we're in the age of Trump. Call it what you want. People can do well today. Plattner, I don't know. But, people don't have the guts to stick it out.
You know what's going on now is he's not actually a comedian. So, like, right now, he knows, because he's Donald Trump, so he knows he can't stay on the prompter because he's bombing and that the jokes aren't working. But he can't start, interacting with the crowd or changing up his act. This isn't his act. He doesn't have it memorized. He's reading from a prompter. So then he's having to riff like Donald Trump does to try to get through to the crowd, get through to the personality. And instead, it, turns into this whole, really awkward thing where he's, beating down on the bad jokes. I kind of feel bad for him because he is a winner, whether you identify with him that way or not. He is a motivated individual, but he isn't a professional comedian. And right now, the material that he walked out there with, for whatever reason, they didn't think about an exit strategy if the really offensive jokes weren't going to work. And so the second half of this act is really fucking sucks because if you were the speechwriter, the first half was working so well that God, it felt like that night in Grant Park with Obama in 2008. You had the chills because he was unifying everybody. He was like being like, we can come together. They were all laughing. It was all these things. Again, like missed opportunity on the diarrhea tariff.
But it looked like he was guilty of a
Missed
lot of
opportunity.
Stuff. He certainly didn't defend himself very well. In Texas, the Democrats are running
Or
a
just
candidate.
or just smash the other countries, because members of the U.S. press can at least enjoy and laugh at that, especially if they have a few drinks in them. I think he just needs a better comedic writer. He might have went with Tony Hinchcliffe. And if you wrote with Tony Hinchcliffe, Tony's going to give him the heaviest stuff, and he's going to say, oh, yeah, let's get him. We'll get him. Not understanding that you can only roast the crowd until the crowd isn't on your side. If the crowd is no longer on your side and you continue to roast members of the crowd and the side of the crowd, you're now just bombing. And that's what's happening.
Named James Telefrico, who hates guns, hates oil, hates sex.
That was good. That's what I mean. Like, did Tony Hinchcliffe write this speech for him? It's too hard. You needed a Shane Gillis pad. You needed somebody to come in and say, actually, don't do those ones in front of those guys. If you want to go to Nashville later on tonight and do these jokes, Trump. Woo! And the problem is that Trump's probably thinking, I'm doing this for my people, though. I'm not doing this for the press. And I'm like, yeah, but you still have to have the crowd that's there on your side.
Hates women. And
Telefrico is fucking
is, quote,
crazy.
a Christian
so
who
good.
hates Christianity. Other than that, I think his platform is quite good. And that means that he's not going to do very well against Ken Paxton, who hopefully in Texas is going to win.
He's just going to start lobbying now. He doesn't know what else to do.
You know what it looks like to me? Alfred E. Newman. You remember Alfred E. Newman, Mad Magazine? It said that guy is Alfred E. Newman. Can't imagine.
I can't wait till he goes full circle, goes back to Greenland. There you go. Again, like even Michael, you got the suggestions in the chat. Like we can get this for him, but he's stuck to this prompter, and they've got like all these aggressive like roast jokes that were clearly written by Tony Hinchcliffe that the crowd is just really not feeling.
He'd win. Well, I have all of the
Telefrico's fucking crazy though. That's fucking solid.
Press here in one place. I have to say that
Telefrico.
We're having an amazing load of accomplishments.
I mean, it would be great if it wasn't for the fact that like Ken Paxton is like protecting pedophiles with like 28-day settlements.
That the media never talks about. For example,
goes both ways, guys. Welcome to the show.
Feared
No news is news.
Powerful regime that relentlessly attacked America has finally been toppled. Their former leaders have been removed, and they're now being run by a gay dictator. Facing
they fucked up on
this.
But they really did. They went too hard.
I, for one, wish Barry Weiss all the best at CBS News. She's a wonderful woman.
Okay.
Most of the...
Yeah, did you just see that? Now the press is, oh my God. Now they're... That laugh, whoa, guys. That's really, really, oh my God. I haven't seen that in a while. That laugh was not a laugh re-establishing connection with the crowd. That laugh was the laugh of someone pity laughing a deep bomb. That was a pity laugh at her being the head of CBS. They're laughing at them. They're not laughing with them. That's really hard to do. It's really easy to disengage the crowd and get them to look into their phones if you're going too hard at them. It's another thing to get them to re-engage, to laugh at you.
Press lives here in Washington, D.C., and you should be thankful for me for what my administration and I have done to make our nation's capital, which was one of the most dangerous and unsafe cities anywhere in the world, one of the safest cities in the United States. Crime is down 88%, and our capital is shining again with 62 monuments, statues, water fountains looking more beautiful. The graffiti's all gone. The tents are all moved out of the parks. The fences are all done. Our capital looks like it's really in good shape. And people coming here, people in the White House, they work in the White House, they all say, young women, young guys walk up, they say, thank you, sir. 2 years ago, we lived in a dangerous city. We lived in a city where 150 people were killed a year. And now we have almost a crime-free city. Our National Guard has done an incredible job, and we've removed over 5,000 career criminals. You know, we removed, there's one stat, I think it's a great stat. It's to me, it's fantastic. 2% of the people create 91% of the crime. That's something you can fix, and we fix it. We moved out over 5,000 career criminals out of Washington, D.C., and we have the greatest capital in the world. Again, it's beautiful, it's thriving, the restaurants are thriving. You couldn't get into a restaurant because they didn't have, all the restaurants were closing. And if you even got in, you felt unsafe. People were getting into Ubers and they were being attacked when they were in an Uber. It's not happening anymore. We have tough, smart people, and they have done a fantastic job. Washington, D.C. is safe again. You can't get into a restaurant. The restaurants are opening up.
He's got
They're
me
opening
checked
up
out
all
now,
over
guys.
the city. They can't get,
It's tough.
it's the exact opposite.
It's a tough
They
one.
can't get space.
Because just
But
like
mostly-
Trump, he gave himself an hour too, and he doesn't need an hour when he's doing comedy. He needs an hour when he's lobbying, because you're supposed to do the reinvestment talk, like the response talk, where you say like, we were in the dirt, but now we're not in the dirt. We were a failing country. Now we're the greatest country ever. You don't need to do any of that stuff here at the Candor Museum. Like, these people are here to report on you. They know you personally. This is a roast battle. That can all go. And that all did go. And instead, he now has an hour of Tony Hinchcliffe style material. And it's way too intense for the crowd. And he's not a comedian. So he's just being Donald Trump and barreling through it and kind of riffing and doing politics in between. And it's fucking weird.
I've given up on you in the
It
media,
started
so
off
that
great, and it's getting
now I just gave up on you, and I'm
fucking
number
weird.
one on TikTok. Did you see that I'm number one, Stephen? Is that true? I'm number one on TikTok. So how can they be so bad? 520, think of this, 425 billion views. Can you believe that, Peter? I mean, let's go, Peter. I gave up on you people. I gave up on traditional press. And it obviously worked because we did win in a landslide. I mean, somebody's got to be saying something good about me. But TikTok, good old TikTok, and I was able to get it sold to a group of very wealthy people, mostly Americans. I was told President Xi, who's a man that I get along with very well, he was a hard no for the sale of TikTok. They all said he's a hard no. I said, well, let's put your group together. They put it together, billions, hundreds of billions of dollars. I called up President Xi. I said, President, look, these are American people. They're wonderful people. In fact, one of them happens to own CBS, actually. I mentioned his name. I said, these are wonderful people, and it'll be a good thing. Does it mean anything, President? It's nothing. It's nothing. They love your country. We'd love to see you approve the deal. And he goes, all right. That was it. It was done. And we sold TikTok. And he's a friend of mine. And he's not contributing to problems like other people contribute to problems. So we get along. But we made the deal. But number one on TikTok is Trump, and that's probably why we won. But for all of the trouble that you give me a lot of trouble, a lot of heartache. I hope all of you know that I believe in the free press more than anyone in this room does. Maybe not quite. But that's why I'm proud to be the most open and transparent president in history. They called me that. You know who calls me that? Caroline. That's about it so far. Would anybody else call me that? I think Peter would call me that. Am I the most transparent? Biden never used to answer your questions. He'd ask Biden 20 questions. He'd never get an answer. Who's the most transparent president, Peter? Who? I look at him. It's the first time he's
speechless.
I cannot believe it. Oh, he's not going to be happy tomorrow. But you people have no idea how lucky you are when I'm gone.
Oh, dude, Peter, you missed it for him. That was him doing crowd work. He was asking for help, Peter. Peter, he was asking for help.
You're all going to be broke your business model is going to be finished. No, it's true. When I'm not around, you're going to be broke. There's not going to be anybody to report on. Nobody gives a damn about anybody else. The New York Times the other day had 5 stories about me. You know, before I got into politics, in my whole life, I had 7 front-page stories. This is years of success. I think 6 were good, 1 was bad. I had 5 stories, 7, 5 good. Yeah, I had a total of 7 stories on the front page of the New York Times. That's not bad. Now I average about 3 or 4 a day, all different topics, all bad, everything bad. But here we are. I mean, here we are. In fact, when I'm
here we are, bombing on stage.
So
and Peter couldn't even say, Peter wouldn't even save me. I said, am I the most transparent president of all time? And Peter could have responded with something, but he didn't.
We are all doing good together. That's why tonight...
I was trying to do crowd work. I was trying to get off prompters. Peter wouldn't let me. And now I bombed the rest of my speech.
Ratings, I'm pleased to announce...
God damn you, Peter.
And this is somewhat of a scoop.
This is the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Peter, you were sent to protect the president! And you failed!
To run for a 4th term as President of the United States. I will be doing that. I will be having an official. In fact, I think I have. Yeah. I won 3 times. Now I'm going to do it again. Thank you.
And that's the problem, is that if he would have landed the rest of that burn material, fuck. If he would have landed the rest of it, like if they would have been on board with like the Tellurico or what the fuck, I can't even remember what it was now because it bombed so badly. What was it? It was like Tellurio or fucking no, man. But you can see it on his face. He knows what's going on here, which is then he almost fuck, man. He really lost tonight, guys. Man, I feel so bad. Because he thought that he could finish the speech with just some cheeky little cheesy joke, and instead now of laughter, you're going to get clapter. And clapter is not what Trump has ever been after. Trump knows what clapter is. But if we know Trump will focus on one thing throughout the next year. Not Iran, not getting us more money, but making sure to have a funnier joke where he doesn't bomb next year.
I'm going to do it. Should be easy. I'm getting very good at running for president. No, I won 3 times, did very well the 2nd time, by the way. It's a rigged election, but we don't have to talk about it. You know, it's interesting. When you come back and you do a good job like we did, and you don't care about it so much, but we do have to tighten up these elections because they really are in seriously bad shape. But on a serious note, I want to say once again, I just want to thank you all. It's been an interesting evening. I didn't really know what to expect, and it's far worse than I actually thought. But
there you go. You got to laugh there, though. You got to laugh there. So you got him back at the end a little bit. It's been far worse than you'd expect. I know he's trying to, that was on the prompter. What's great about Trump is a real one. He's a real, like, he understands what's really going on. So it's like Trump had to read that prompter, and that prompter says, it's been a little bit harder than it should have been. And he decides to change the cadence of that to, whew, man, I just bombed. And so the cadence of it's been a little bit more annoying than it should have been. Like, if he would have killed that night and everybody's laughing and he puts that hat on, instead of clapter, he gets actual laughter, he would have went to that line and he would have said, man, you guys really suck tonight. He would have started going off the cuff on it and yelling at him and being very Ricky Gervais and rubbing it in. No. He took his own line on the prompter that was supposed to be I win tonight line, and he at least has enough common sense to get the laugh back. He's like, this is a lot tougher than I thought it was going to be.
You want to know
and yes, it is.
But I didn't know exactly.
Yes, it is, Trump. Getting laughs is not.
I've made a lot of friends tonight.
Pretty hard.
Friends tonight. Probably made some enemies also. But it's been an experience that is something that we've all shared together, because we're all in this room tonight because most of us went through a period of trauma from just a short while ago. And, you know, some people said they wanted to come, but they were afraid to come, and you people weren't afraid to come. There were a lot of people that said, Jackie, they don't really, you know, they didn't have the courage to come. And we don't want that to happen. And I'm sure it's not going to happen. We're going to do things. Again, I want to thank our law enforcement, keeps us safe. All law enforcement. We have the greatest people on earth. You know, we had 2 years ago, we had the worst record of recruitment in, as an example, the military, Army, Navy.
See, he's good at this part because he doesn't need the laughter anymore. He already wrapped up the speech. The only thing left is just him doing his little grifting about being president and how great he is. They all get to do that. That's part of like going here to the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Overall, man started out with the first 15 minutes. He was at an A+. He was in Obama territory on the Grant Park lawn in 2008. Part 2, he started to lose it a little bit. He was doing risky material, but he was still winning them over. Part 3, he just bombed, continued to read the prompter, tried to riff on the prompter, made the entire comedic speech more political, and at the end put the 2028 hat on and got clapter. And that was the end. And now he gets to riff and do his little thing for a few more minutes, and that's it. But the thing is that, like, what is good, it's almost like God might be on our side on this one, like, for the sane human beings of America, because him putting that hat on, if people were laughing in the room, it would have become like a huge thing. The fact that they were all doing clapter at him almost like puts him in such a place that no one can make some manipulative story about how he's really running for a third term. So we don't have to deal with that chaos anymore because we just clapped Grandpa off the fucking stage.
Air Force,
Yeah.
Marines,
Like
the
that's,
Coast Guard, Space Force. I love Space Force. Look at all that shooting we're able to do from space. That was my baby. But all of the
now he's doing Trumpisms. Space Force shooting all those space from space.
branches of you couldn't get people to join. This was 2 years ago.
Don't you worry, Trump. Don't you worry, press. He might have bombed his actual speech, but now he's going to just become Trump for 20 minutes.
And last week, you probably saw, some of you wrote the story, we have the single best recruiting of people into our armed forces than we have ever had.
I ain't going to lose. I'm going to.
They are brimming over.
He bombed.
They're great people.
They're in their phones. They're
And that's a
reporting
big
now.
statement. And
They're
that
also reporting
goes
that he
for
bombed.
the police departments.
That's what sucks. It's the press corps. So you're literally watching them report your bombing. Like, and you're not even bombing Iran. Bro is... Be scared of whatever happens tomorrow, because if Trump goes hard tomorrow, it's probably because he was bombing all last night. In the worst way possible. Who is responsible for the speech?
Where they were having a tremendous problem recruiting. You can't get into a police department now. If you're looking for a job, it's very tough. And that also includes our great fire departments, because people forget about them. They're unbelievable, the job they do. So I just want to thank you. Look, we're on the cusp of something big, and I call it, and this, I'm being very serious when I say this, that this is the golden age of America. We have $19.2 trillion being spent in our country. A record was China. I think it was 10 years ago, $3 trillion. Trillion is a lot. 4 years, they went less than $1 trillion under Biden. And we have $19.2 trillion. And this is a period of actually 13 months, not even current, because we're here a little bit longer than that. But that was as of reporting dates. $19.2 trillion is being spent. Factories are coming. Toyota just...
Actually, I take that back. I think that Trump's too arrogant to think that he fucked this up. And I think that he's probably going to leave, and he's probably going to scream at some interns, and he's going to yell, and he might even fire the head of the speech department.
Now they're going to be building...
Carolina Love It better be looking down tonight.
Mexico, they're coming here. Tariffs did that.
Because the optics on him wearing that hat as he's going on and on are not good.
Our country is doing things that nobody's ever seen before, and it is true. We were, and you've heard me say this, we were a dead country 2 years ago, Other leaders would say,
Imagine being a liberal, though, just scrolling through your YouTube feed and you scroll up on this live stream and he's just already has the hat on.
see me, and they'd say it's a miracle.
Imagine just...
She told me that.
That person's fucking
A few
world.
weeks ago in China. He's
For the
coming
first
here
10
on
minutes.
September,
Where they're
I think,
fucking
24th.
ChatGPT in it.
Coming in September, the end of
The
September.
fuck is going on?
But he said the same.
ChatGPT is like explaining to them it's called a joke. At the press conference, they sometimes do jokes at the White House correspondent. It's probably a joke.
Thing. The King of Saudi Arabia said
That, or they'll gaslight him. They'll gaslight him and be like, fact check, he never wore a hat. Actually, it hasn't happened yet. And they're like, it's happening right now!
It's the same words. We thought you were a dead country. We never thought you had a chance. You were never going to make it back. And in a period of 1 year, you made it the hottest country anywhere in the world. We all did that together.
I just got
we
you.
all did
Yeah.
it together.
You saw quite.
And we do. We
You
have
missed
the
quite
hottest
the
country anywhere
comedic
in the
bomb.
world, and we're going to keep it going. And I just want to say,
Not against Trump,
in this
but
room, I have tremendous respect for the people
bad
in this
jokes.
room.
Wrong
Sometimes
crowd.
I don't feel you treat me fair. Or maybe you do. I don't know. I don't feel that. But sometimes you treat me very fairly. And I have a lot of respect for your profession. Your profession's amazing. And I just want to thank you for having me. And it's been fun. And I've met a lot of great people. And, I used an expression, and I've used it right from the beginning. I did this for one reason, to make America great again. And that's what's happening right before your very eyes. We have made America great.
All right,
again.
guys,
It's
stay
gonna
with
get a
us.
lot
We're going to
greater.
keep the audio
So thank
going
you all
real
very
quick
much.
here
It's an
because we're
honor
going to
to
go
be
into
with you.
hour
Thank you.
3.
Thank
Gavin
you very
Newsom
much.
is still winning. He just said thank you very much. So we're going to go into Nick Fuentes and we're going to go into Nick Fuentes and Hunter Biden in a second here, but we got to switch this poll up real quick. Hold on 1 second. Gavin Newsom winning this round, but as long as we stay above 100 viewers, we will continue in our third hour. Let's get the ChatGPT out for who's our third-party nominee tonight. Oh, let me put the standard up for us real quick. Let's see if we have any news coming out of the press corps first, since there was the press night. Let's see if anybody says that he bombed yet. 3 months after a gunman attacked the White House Correspondents' Dinner, journalists gathered Friday evening for a second attempt. Some of the funnier moments of the night from Trump as the speech has gone on. Trump has said harsher and harsher and more political things. He destroyed the crowd, and by the end, there was not a single laugh in the 700 people. That's pretty accurate. And that's the reporting in lump sum from Mo News. And let's get into the third hour of our show. Who will be president in 2028? But we need to have ChatGPT tell us who our third-party nominee is. And then we're going to go to Nick Fuentes and Hunter Biden debate part 2 and 3, as long as we stay above 100 members. So let's keep the chat alive, guys. Double tap, hit that subscribe button, and tell us who you're voting for in 2028. Tell us what you think of Donald Trump's speech so far. And here is our third-party nominee, and it's going to be, let's do Ted Cruz, who will be president in 2028. We have 837 days until election. We got J.D. Vance with 60 wins. We have Gavin Newsom with 19 wins, and we have who did I say? Oh, Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz. All right, Ted Cruz is their third-party nominee for the third hour of our show. Let's get it going. We're going to start out with our second part of the three-parter. Well, let me get to the Patreon of it all because I did pay for the Patreon version. Mr. Andrew Callaghan here, killing it with this interview. It's kind of crazy. All right, guys. And right about now.
You said you want to ask me.
Show, brother. All right, here we go. All right. We were about 31 minutes into this.
You know what I mean? At that time.
For you were in danger physically in a left-wing city. It's just the truth. So I feel like you guys have been deprived of the ability to have normal lives. You especially, but I mean you in general. But I feel like your controversies came a little bit later in life. For you, I feel like you haven't even been able to grow up as a normal person. Is that accurate to say?
That's true. Well, and in terms of building community back and everything like that, the data says that really the loss of society is the fact that we don't encounter people anymore. For example, on your way to work, or in ways that are unexpected. People wake up in their house.
Dude, Andrew Callaghan is a real one. He knew that the White House Correspondents' Dinner was tonight. What a better night for unification than to publicly release the Nick Fuentes and Hunter Biden interview. He's bringing the best of both sides together in the interview of the year, while everyone else in journalism gives themselves awards while we all call them the mainstream media and laugh at their faces, as well as Donald Trump. But meanwhile, Andrew Callaghan is actually talking to the face of the right and the face of the left right here in front of us. Whether you like it or not, this is the truth. The cultural milestones of both parties are probably Hunter Biden, Nick Fuentes.
Which is separate from everybody else. They get in their car,
and
by
no
themselves,
doubt about it,
drive to work
contender
by themselves.
for interview of the year.
And then they meet with their colleagues and everything, but then they go right home. Go home, have a beer, watch Netflix until they go to bed. Next day starts all over again. And so I think it has a lot to do with maybe how we structure the cities. I think, honestly, a big part of it, there's like this abundance mindset with liberals. Liberals want to have prosperity and everything like that. How can you have that when the cities are not safe? I think that one of the ways, for example, if you want to have those encounters that are unplanned or spontaneous, they're going to happen maybe on the subway, on the bus, on your way to work. People don't want to ride the subway anymore. People don't want to ride the bus. They don't feel like it's safe.
If you look at the data, like right now, 2026, I think 2025 had the lowest homicide rate of any year in America, like the past 40 years. I feel like if you compare data from the 90s, like the cities, I get what you're saying, but the cities I have noticed are a lot safer. They're also, becoming more expensive as well.
It's a really, you're absolutely right. What you're saying, Nick, is impossible to refute, right? Because everybody has an experience with violence or witnessing a crime, or whether it's just in their local newspaper or not, is that I don't think that is in any way limited to only urban environments. I take the top 10 poorest red states in the country, and their crime rates are 10 times what many urban centers are.
So you'd be comparing like West Virginia, coal country, disenfranchised to like an urban neighborhood.
Yeah, in terms of per capita crime, in terms of per capita murder, in terms of per capita child sexual.
You know what? Hunter Biden's got a point here in part two.
Abuse? Yeah. I think the things that people really care about, things like that, is their own personal safety. Yeah. It is not limited to African American urban or Latino American urban environments. It's not. It exists. Carjackings do happen, but you know where they happen? They happen in Biloxi, Mississippi, just as much as they happen in Chicago.
I'm skeptical of that.
I mean, I just think the idea of safety, safety.
By the way,
crime is I feel like media has overblown the.
Everybody's going to fact check both of us on this, and but I agree with you. But my point about all of it is that you can always point to a reason, Nick. There's never been a time in which there hasn't been crime in major urban areas where you pack a lot of people in. You're right, though, is that the difference between us feeling like each other are neighbors and that we can find some common ground is the fact, you can live in existence now and by the time you're 56 years old and never really have to leave your house to make a living, you don't go to the community center anymore. And I don't know how to fix that. And I certainly don't know how to fix it in the age of AI.
Right? Because community is like an essential human need, if not the most important thing. Mm-hmm. So when you are deprived of that, you're more likely to look for a radical solution and be like, everything's broken, we need to try something really out there. So you might embrace something more reactionary on left or right to be like, fuck this, we need something new. And I'm not trying to draw this like male dominant.
Okay, here's the difference between black inner cities versus rural Appalachia poor communities. Higher black inner cities, higher rate of gun violence and homicide from the same neighborhoods. Rural communities, lower homicide rates overall, but higher rates of drug overdose deaths in many of those areas. For black inner city communities, more robberies and aggressive assaults in higher crime neighborhoods. In rural Appalachia, there's more property crime, domestic violence, drug-related offenses, and theft in many rural counties. In black inner city areas, violence is often concentrated in small number of blocks and involves disputes among relatively small number of people. In rural Appalachia type areas, crime is often spread across the larger geographical area and linked to isolation, addiction, and economic hardship. So again, crimes of choice, robbery, gun violence, are still in Nick Fuentes' favor, saying that those things don't happen in rural Appalachia in poor communities. They only happen in predominantly black urban communities.
It's like incel pipeline that the media tries to do all the time. But do you see a connection there between like people being lonely and having less friends and subcultural
absolutely.
choice taking over community value systems or community engagement and people just like driving to the extreme?
100%. I think social dislocation is probably the number one problem of our times, because you look at the young people, and you're right, it is one of those essential human needs, is to connect and have that sense of familiarity, to really to be seen, to see and to be seen. And that's something young people don't have. And I think, by the way, you look at the way young people socialize and even the mentality, I think a lot of young people have this absolute drive to go to college. Why? It's an extension of high school. And what do high school and college have in common? It's a community. You're in the quad. You can see and be seen. There's sort of like a status, reputation. You're constantly involved with other people. And I think everybody, young people, look at when they graduate from college like falling off a cliff and now life is over. Because now you just have your job, the gym, and going back home, and that's it. And this is why a lot of young people then want to move to the big cities. Got to go to New York, got to go to Chicago or LA, where it's happening. And they want to get a condo or an apartment downtown because they want to go to the bar scene and extend college a little bit longer. And I think that's just not really a sustainable way to have a society. There has to be a way for people to still have that sense of community outside of, let's say, college and high school, even into their adulthood, and then into their old age. So, yeah, I mean, that's one of the biggest problems going on. And I agree. I think it drives, even to your point about the whites-only community in Arkansas, I think it is driving these, let's call it ghettoization or insulation of people going into these artificial values-based communities. Because where are you going to find people? Go online, start spouting about politics, or, you know, even not just for incels and right-wingers, but even on the left. Someone like Tyler Robinson, he's on Discord. He's on Discord with all of the Overwatch players and all the LGBTQ or whatever.
Which, if you were watching the interview before, guys, Nick Fuentes never got to do a response to Hunter Biden basically speculating that Tyler Robinson was a Mormon that grew up Mormon and shot Charlie Kirk for no reason, I guess. He wasn't able to respond to that before, so he uses this moment. He's such a smart person. Honestly, he's really smart. I don't know. Like, he gives me Rubio vibes. He really gives me like a very aggressive and assertive to his opinions, but Rubio vibes, where he's very like smart at communication. So is Andrew Callaghan. That's why I would love a debate between them two, and just to get rid of Uncle Hunter over here.
I think that, you know, there's a tendency there where everybody kind of amplifies some of the resentment or feelings there. So I agree, that's a huge driver.
So for you, like back in high school when you were like first kind of starting to use the internet and all that, did you build most of your community in person outside Chicago, or was it mostly online?
When I was in high school or college?
High school.
High school, I had real friends in Model UN. That was my favorite thing. So that was.
But you were still creating like some kind of content at that time.
Not in high school, no.
Okay, so you went to BU.
Yes.
Were most of your friends like classmates there? Like when did you start to kind of build your online persona and community around your content?
It wasn't until I left college. So to that point, I had friends in college. And then when I left college and started my show independently, then it was all people online. And everybody I knew was people from my community for the most part.
But your cancellation from mainstream platforms was effectively the same thing as like a community collapse for your personal life, right?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't even say it was just the cancellation, but even more just returning home from college.
What do you think would have happened to you, like career-wise and personal life-wise, if you never would have been mainstreamed? I mean, I guess removed from major social media platforms.
Oh, it'd be a lot easier to make friends. Let's say, because, you know, being banned on Instagram, you might as well be dead. In Generation Z, that's how everybody sees each other, meets each other, talks to each other. So
connects.
I think I probably have a wider, livelier circle.
You can't even walk up to somebody and just say hello.
No, I'd say it's about the same.
No, but I mean, you said that like you feel like it would have been easier to make friends.
It would have been easy to make more friends, yeah, sure.
So aside from your career, how was your like personal and social life affected in those following years?
Well, it's brutal, you know. I mean, because everybody that I knew from high school is on Instagram, on Facebook, and I'm just not on there. It's almost like you're removed from the earth. For Generation Z, I understand for older people, for different generation, people still meet up or stay in touch in other ways. But if you're not online online as a young person, you might as well be dead.
Do you think you would have said like some of the more extreme things that you did say if you I guess were allowed to remain on the mainstream internet?
Absolutely, yeah.
Looking back, and I'm not trying to get you to like take something back necessarily. What's like?
All right, guys, that's the end of our show tonight, but we will be back tomorrow. Let's see. Do we know what we're going to be doing tomorrow? Oh, with that said, oh, no way. He skates by. He skates by. He got it. He got it. Oh, I'll be back tomorrow morning, a.m. Number 61? Yeah, 61. 61. J.D. Vance wins it again, barely. Gavin Newsom, very close tonight, guys. If you're a Gavin hound and you were in here, come back tomorrow. Tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Why? Because tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. is going to be the Democratic convention to decide the new Maine representative in the race against Susan Collins. So the person replacing Graham Plattner. So we will see what shenanigans they are up to at 8 a.m. But until then, peace and later. Deuces!